So good morning, everyone, and welcome to another BSGA Sign Surgery. Today, we're delighted to welcome Sign Trade Supplies. They're going to kick off in a minute with a brief presentation on their COPA wayfinding system, which will include a show and tell, which is very exciting. Following this, you'll have the chance to ask them some questions, and then we're going to discuss wayfinding in more detail. We've got a few questions that have come in, and of course, you could throw questions at us as you wish. If you do have a question, probably the best thing is to pop it into the chat, or if you just want to raise your virtual hand, we'll get to you when we can. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Matthew. I shall spotlight you, if that's all right. Everyone can see you. And I guess you'll do a presentation. So over to you, Matthew and Conan. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate the opportunity to come on. It's always exciting to get in front of a few different people. I guess we know quite a few of you, but there'll be some of you that we don't. So just a quick overview. My name is Matthew. I'm one of the directors, and this is my colleague Conan, part of the sales team. We've been going for 35 years, and we mainly provide components for signage, and we also do a few systems. And probably about 70% of what we do is aluminium. So what we wanted to do today was just run through some problems had been fed back, and how our R&D department came up with a solution as regards a sign system. So feel free to ask questions. We're going to start off with a bit of a PowerPoint. And I'll pass over to my colleague Conan.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see some familiar faces on there. So the COPA system was a system developed, like many of our solutions and systems, based off customer feedback. So we're not one to try and reinvent the wheel. We like to provide solutions based on solving problems. So customer facing, I'm out on the road a lot. I've seen a few of you, and we tried to consolidate some of the problems we're seeing and then provide a solution. So one thing which was coming up time after time was the need for a system which was more than just a standard post and channel railed sign blank, something which was a bit more premium, but was quicker to quote up, had a quicker turnaround, was less prone to damages, and then had a bit more of a unique finishes, adaptations to it. So what was coming up quite a lot was the time taken to quote a product, and then also the time to turn it around. So the COPA sign system often takes over from a sign system such as a solid aluminium tray between posts. This often takes between 5 to 7 days typically to fabricate and then powder coat and then ship out to. What we were finding a lot of our customers were receiving these damaged due to transport. These are large panels, they're fabricated, and when you receive them damaged, that's then another 5 to 7 days to fabricate something else, ship it out again, and then you still run that risk. So we thought we'd look at a concept which basically takes that risk away. And then we also wanted to go one step further and provide the more of the sales support and tools to help you sell this. So the concept we came up with was for quoting, create something online on our Trade Plus portal, which allows you to get an instant price. So if you've just spoken to the customer on the phone, we all know that the quicker you get back to the customer, more likely you are to hold their interest and then maintain that communication and win the order. So that is something which was part of the concept and we've delivered on. We are fully set up and have honed in over many years, delivering bulky length items nationwide, undamaged, for the most part. So we thought if we build or create something which is kit based, we can send it out in the same format we currently send our poles and channels and components out in. We can then minimize this the risk of damage. But to do this, obviously, we had to get past the panel problem. So we thought ACM or aluminium composite panel is available to everybody wherever you are in the country. Everybody uses it, and most people can cut it, create their own panels. So if we created a kit with the aluminium composite panel, still made it look premium, we would have achieved our result. And then if we provide a sales media pack with that, it'll then help them to sell it.
That's good. Yeah. So now we kind of knew what we wanted to create. I think as well, it's good to point out that because we only provide to the trade, we have quite a range of customers, from someone that's on their own to someone that's perhaps 5 people, to the largest sign companies in the UK, where they're sort of 50 to 100, and their capacity and ability varies quite a lot. So this was kind of the majority of problems we got told about. So with the Copa system, it's a contemporary look. I know a few of you would have seen it and actually used it. A couple of things we wanted: no visible fixings. It could be a standalone sign or part of a family of wayfinding options, maybe. Transported as a kit, as Conan said, and ability to ship this out nice and quickly with sort of the most common options. So the first issue was around speed. So we've designed on our Trade Plus portal, so you have to have an account and registered to Trade Plus. But you can go onto our website, go onto the configurator, and get instant pricing on a lot of different configurations. So traditionally, where you might email a supplier and say, well, this is ideally what I want a quote on, not only do you have to wait, but if for whatever reason your customer comes back and says, oh, actually, I want an extra panel in there, or want to change the colour, you have to go through the process again. So with this, it's instant. You can go on, you can choose your panel size. You then choose any additional ladders that you want with the sign. The next bit is where it varies between the size of our customer. So either we can supply it with the central panel, and with or without print. Slightly larger companies that buy their own sheeting anyway will just buy the kit from us, so just the metal components. And again, print. A lot of people have printers, but those that don't, or don't perhaps have the capacity to fulfill larger orders, is something that we can do. And then lastly, you can choose your post size, your post colour, and also we introduced a wood effect as well. So that's on the right there is just an idea of what the page looks like. Would suggest it's good for you to have a look at them. As I say, your instant pricing. And then on the left, these golf course pictures give you an idea of what you can achieve with one system. You can price it instantly, and it gives you an idea of the way it actually the design comes across. Very professional way of dressing the sign. The concept itself, we have a couple of custom extrusions and custom plug systems, which we designed to create the kit. So it means it's very quick for us. It's the same process every time, no matter the specification of sign. So it's very quick for us to turn it around. We also, as Conor said, we're used to transporting tubes and sign or aluminium lengths of extrusion. So we can transport it in the same way with minimal damage. We do have large amounts of stock at our premises, so it means virtually there's no MOQ for you to get within four working days. And lastly, it's very easy to install. So we've put together, which I'll show on the next slide, but whether you're installing it yourself or you're outsourcing your install, it's a nice, easy process and method to follow to make it a success. We even tried it on the guinea pigs in the office that had never touched a tool before. So yeah, we found it's quite a proven method. And lastly was the sales support. Perhaps not for the bigger companies, but for some companies where their breadth of offering is quite wide, when it comes to some signs, they might not have enough sales literature or enough sales collateral to support their selling. So we've put together a few things. So top right hand corner here, we do a white label PDF brochure. We can put your own branding on this, and it allows you to take to your sales appointment or send by PDF a nice looking brochure, helping bring in trust between you and your customer. We also have media packs, so anyone wanting to sell the product online, we share a lot of photos and videos, and then we've also got a lot of technical support as regards assembly that can be sent out with the product. So all this is white label, allowing, I guess, the more you sell, the more we sell. So the more we can support our customers in that selling process, the better. Just a quick overview, without going into too much detail, in terms of what you can achieve from the COPA system. So it'll accommodate, the largest panel will be 8x4. It'll take the actual panel, the central panels, generally at ACM or aluminium, maximum of 3 mil thick, which is obviously common use in the industry. And when it gets above a certain size, so 700 mil, we have additional support bars in the product. Conan will show this in a second. So just quickly, we just thought we'd put a couple of case studies together, give you an idea of the actual solutions it's provided. So Girton Golf Club, their brief was to have a clean, fresh sign that would actually last. And traditionally, where it's been wood before, it's high maintenance and it can look quite depleted before not long. So with our Decro wood effect, this gave exactly the same finish, but is slightly cheaper, and it's also been, or it's maintenance free. So there we just put, it was dispatched within 3 days. We provided the panel, and our customer, the Cambridge Sign Company, provided all the print. Another one there was the Royal Alexandra and Albert School. This was actually a family of signs, but they wanted some consistent signage throughout the site, which what had previously happened is that it built up over time and some of the signs were slightly different. So there wasn't much of a uniform effect. So with this, every sign was changed from the main sign at the entrance to all the smaller signs you can see around the site. It actually, not only did it sort of increase the look and feel of the school and the site, but it actually was quite under budget. So that it was a cost-effective system for them to put in. Yeah, so that's it. So I think, I don't know if anyone's got any questions, but Colin was going to run through and actually show you some of the product on the screen, but I don't know if there's any questions before we do that.
I've got a question for you.
Far away.
So we've actually bought one of these systems from you before, and we were quite impressed with it. But there's a couple of things that just flagged up. I'm very interested in the marketing literature, because we're in the process of putting the brochure together, signage-related brochure. So it'd be good to get hold of some imagery and things. If we can look at that, that'd be great. You said a 0.26 skin on the alley. Is there a reason for that on the ACN? Because our standard kind of skin is 0.22. Is that just to create less flex in the panel, or?
I wouldn't. I don't actually know on that one.
Okay.
Would have to double check. I don't see why you couldn't use the 0.22. The main.
Point 0.22 is normally hoarding, isn't it? Because obviously the thinner the skin tends to be.
0.15 is normally hoarding.
0.15. Okay.
Yeah. 0.22 is your daylights and all of those.
Daylights. Okay.
Down there, and then you go to 0.3, which is normally your when you're V-grooving and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sorry, that's where I was coming from. Fine. Yeah.
We can double check on that.
It's not a big discrepancy, but I just thought I'd ask that question. And what I was going to ask you, and also, see, I know that the panels bond in there, don't they? There's a BHB or something adhesive you put on the horizontal strips. So my other concern is, what if a customer at a later date wants to change that? At the moment, conventional panels, we can just go up there, unbolt, unscrew, whatever, and just put a new tray on, or bring the tray back, reskin it, go back. What now if the panel needs to be changed? I mean, potentially, I'm thinking we could just reskin the graphic on site, assuming it's not -5 degrees outside and we can't apply vinyl. What are the other options? How do we get the panel out?
Yeah, so we're exploring various different options on this front, and we have quite a few customers have used different ways of doing it. Like you say, just reskinning it, redoing the graphics on the front. Other ones have used little grub screws and just screwed in at the corners of the panel. But yeah, we are definitely looking into ways we can make this easier, more removable. With that still having the hidden fixings element. So yeah, good point.
Okay. And if also, because I had a customer the other day, if they wanted to add another, say we've got a couple of ladder signs, and they want to add a couple of slats to that at a later date, how do we go about that? Is that even possible?
We did do it the other day. We had one quite close to us where there was a bit of a mess up when it was purchased. So we added 2 extra ladders. So I think on that, if you just get in touch directly, we can work something out for you. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because from my understanding, one point of the system is you have to locate those horizontal bars before the posts go in the ground. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's right. It's a great system. It's just good to understand its limitations.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll send you some of the brochures and things. And what we've tried to do is, in the brochures, actually put the limitations in there as well, because as you say, you just want to know, will the system work for this scenario or not? That's good.
Yeah. So if a customer's asking for a modular system and it wants to be added to it later, that I probably wouldn't necessarily spec that system, but like I said, for 9 out of 10 things, it's ideal.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And you say you were quite happy with the one you installed as well?
Very happy. Yeah, customers very happy with it. Loved it. Looked really good, really clean, really neat. So yeah, it was a new thing to us, and yeah, thought it worked really well actually. So yeah, and what's quite nice about it is conventionally when you've got panel and post systems, plazas or whatever, you normally got your nutserts on the inside of the posts, and because of that, all right, I'm quite fussy, but when you have an upsert on a post, you're always going to have a gap. When the tray goes on, you get a slight, and then sometimes you see the light through it. Whereas with this system, you don't get any gap, which is quite nice. So it really fits quite tightly, quite nicely.
Excellent feedback. That's good.
Anyone else got any questions before we go on to the demo? Not to tell. I don't think so. Are you ready? Shall we spotlight across to you, Connor?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, 1 second.
There we go. I can do that.
And then I magically appear at another screen. But yeah, just a brief overview for those of you that haven't used the system, just as to how this actually is assembled. So obviously you receive it in a bundle like we've been speaking about, and on the sign posts you'll have in it, we have machined and tapped riv nuts. So you'll have these riv nuts in the side of the post, this represents each arm, and between those arms you will install the panel. You then have a plug and a bolt, which you use, comes with an Allen key and everything within the kit. So if you're installing this on site, it all comes ready for the installers to use. This is then screwed in, tightened up to finger tight, not too much, and then from that you then take the bar or the cross beam, and then that is just a push fit like that. So that then fits snug. You then install your other post the other side. The second bar will go in depending on how big your panel is, or if you've got ladders, it might be multiple bars. It then all slots together. Then within the cross beam, you have a little hole. This then takes a little grub screw, which we also supply. That is done up to just provide extra strength. The adhesive is then applied, or is already applied onto the arm. This just needs to be peeled off, and then you fit your panel in, stick it down, and it sits flush. So then you end up with something like one of these signs over here. You might have this big one like this, as you can see, with the supplied with the printed panel, like Damon just said, without the gaps down the side. Very minimal effect at the top, but when you do have the effect at the top, you can make it look like a realistic wooden sign like this one. So you obviously got the wood effect at the top as well. Single-sided, double-sided, again, very good for the cost factor as well, because it's only the cost of another piece of aluminium composite. So to make this sign double-sided, obviously all you're doing is just applying another ACM panel to the other side. So whether you have it single-sided or double-sided, the back, it looks fairly uniform, pretty much like a picture frame. Some people prefer just to put a plain panel on the back. Others are quite happy with how it is. So yeah, obviously that one is for a golf course. We do a lot of it goes into housing development, but then you've got your leisure, you've got your manor houses, you've got your sort of Red Road, Bellway homes, that kind of signage. It's being used for that a lot just because it's quick and easy. So without these sign companies having to actually even handle the product, quite often we're stocking these kits ready-made. These kits are then sent out direct to site, and then their installers are just turning up with the panels. And then it's a very takes a lot of process away from the factory floor, allows you to focus on other things. And where you've got brands which incorporate the wood effect into their branding, some of these housing development companies, especially the darker wood effect, use the wood effect. Instead of wrapping it or using actual wood, you got something on the shelf, quick and easy to use, with a warranty of at least 10 years. But majority of it lasts a lot longer than that. Comes with the benefits of not warping, not having to be machined. When you trim around the bottom of it with the maintenance crews, you're not going to lose your vinyl, have a very stressed customer on the other end of the line. So yeah, you can maintain a very visually appealing sign over a long period of time very quickly. And I guess in the industry, especially at the moment, we're looking for efficiencies. We're looking for the easiest way to provide a longevity product. And yeah, in the quickest and easiest way. So yeah, if you've got any other questions about the Copa system, or again about our wood effect, we stock 2 colours. So we've got the light oak, which is this colour, which you can see incorporated into this sign. So that's a smaller one, double-sided wood effect caps as well. And then we've got the slightly darker one, which we call the teak, which is this one. So that is slightly darker, again, wood effect caps. This we stock in 50mm square, 76mm square, off the shelf. So if you are ordering that just on its own, not as a system, that is standard 1 to 2 day lead time. If you're ordering it as a kit, you're looking at more like 2 to 3. So if you're looking at buying it as a Copa system, then you've got your 2 to 3 day lead time. What I would say for those of you out there, maybe looking at bigger projects, we do different colours of wood effect. However, there are minimum order quantities involved with this. We have worked with large brands doing exhibitions, so outdoor exhibitions with cladding. We have provided it for airports, for walkways, cladding down walkways, also different wayfinding schemes where we've had to adapt the wood effect. So if you've got any questions about that, it's a very good product to use, long lasting, fire retardant. One of the big ones the other day was that it was easy to wipe down compared to wooden products in high traffic areas where contamination and hygiene was a focal point. So yeah, if you've got any questions about our Decpro range as well, or the Copa products, then just shout. But yeah, any questions, basically, file them over.
Would you recommend using end caps with them?
With the Copa?
With any of them on the post, do you always supply end caps, or
Yes.
you
So
don't?
when bought as a system, we always supply the end caps. So yes.
And finial type ones, I didn't even know you could get those. So you've got like that black one in the background.
So yeah, the black one. So yeah, this is just a product which we are starting to launch now to sort of accompany the system. We're just looking to get stock some which also are powder coated which we powder coat to match the wood effect. It doesn't have the grain on it, but it's a very close match. So unless you're right up against it, you won't know.
Yeah. Cool. And would you recommend the panels or wrapped edges or anything like that when you do the graphics, or just do face fix on the ACM?
Yeah, just face fix.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of questions on the chat. Okay, Matt has come back to this, but I think it's worth sharing because it's a question. Lawrence has asked if you can get a print file for the wood effect. So if you wanted to match the panel with other projects, presumably. Matt has sort of responded to that, saying it's something you're looking at. I wonder if you wanted to expand a little.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we're looking to get the print file and make it available to everyone, make it available even on our Trade Plus. So yeah, again, if you wanted this system here, you wanted the front maybe to be a print, but the back you wanted the wood effect to match the colour and the grain of the posts, then obviously you could print that onto your composite panel and yeah, have a sort of uniform look. So yeah, something we'll be making available along with the marketing packs.
Okay. Richard has made a statement. Do you want to sort of say what you want to say there, Richard? And come on, might be easier.
Yeah, of course can. Just from a sustainability perspective, there's got to be some sort of adhesive-free version developed on this. Just because when it comes to end of life, you can't separate the ACM from the aluminium and so on, so it can't be recycled. But other than that, it's great. It's very similar to a system I used to use years ago from Ashby Trade Signs. But again, yeah, if the adhesive-free version can be launched, I can see more variety of applications there.
That's interesting. Do you have any ideas around making it adhesive free, that kind of thing, or any material?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at having sort of a hook-on system of some sort for the panel, or like little lugs that you can like hook into place and so on, and then maybe grub screw up at the end. We can I can happily chat to you guys at a later date and see if we can come together on something.
Absolutely, yeah. So what the industry is about, it'd be good to catch up after this.
Great point about sustainability, Richard. There, spot
on. On the note of what Richard said about the adhesive, that is one thing that slightly worries me, because I've had adhesive fail before, and as good as VHB tapes are, I don't know how you guys prep it, but I always use, we use like a Primer 94 from 3M and stuff like that with ISO first, Primer 94, and more often than not, fitters will just grab an Dibond panel out of the back of a van. It may have a backing sheet on it. They've not realised it may not have a backing sheet on there. Got their hands over it. They just whack it up. And what's the likelihood of that then failing? Is I haven't actually read your instructions, but is that an important aspect of it? Is the surface cleaning of the panel? I noticed you mentioned about the ACM has to be coated both sides, not like a mill finish on the reverse. Probably for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and everything we do prime with Primer 94 as well. Yeah, as standard across everything.
It might be helpful to know we've got Innova Solutions going to have a chat with us about tapes and non-mechanical fixings. So that might be a great question to throw into that discussion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask, this might not be the best, but looking at the system you've got there, how big can it go? Is there an upper limit?
So we say 8x4 panels in size. So yeah, anything landscape or portrait. 2x4 open.
I love this 8 foot by 4 foot 3 mil thick. I love being in the sign trade. Perfect.
And can you kind of extend so it's almost like a third pole, so that the one in the middle has slots at either end? Is that
So if you say to add on another one here or make it a V sign, we do actually do a lot of the V signs. So we have a central one, and then it faces both ways a 90-degree. We can. Yeah, that's probably more just email in on our orders at email, and then our inquiry will be looked at then. Just because it's a bit more bespoke, but yeah, fairly quick to get you a quote on those kind of things.
Anybody else got anything to throw at Matt and Conan before we move on? I'm going to take that as a no. Well, thank you. I mean, I think it's really interesting to have that sort of live demo and hear things directly. And I hope we'll look for feedback afterwards. And it'd be good to know, to know if this is a good format for people to have this kind of presentation. Craig, I'm going to move over to you, I think. Well, I'll stop spotlighting you. We'll go thing. I'm going to bring Craig up. Is there anything you wanted to add about what you've seen there, Craig, from the association's perspective?
No, not directly regarding the system. Love the fact that obviously you've got white label options there. I wonder whether the website actually being able to order product was available for other people to have on their own website, where they could have a spin-off of the portal just to encourage their customers to maybe quote online. I don't know if that's losing too much control, but just a thought process there. Sorry, Matthew.
No, that's a good question. I guess there's quite a few factors. It depends on how the website's set up. We have done some custom calculators for different customers on either Copra or just your standard post and panel. So they've got like an Excel calculator. They can just pop the numbers in. So we've done that for a few, haven't we? Which has been, again, it's about speed for them. So
okay. The other one that's come up, and it's slightly mixed. I won't go into names or Pactol. We've had a couple of members who've been forced to take signs down, wayfinding signs down. One was specifically it was the Highways Agency quoting the TSRGD 2016 because they felt that the signs impacted on drivers. The other one was actually a client who on private ground 20 meters back from the highway, and the highways again asked them to remove the signage because it was distracting for the highway. And I didn't know if any of the members had actually had any issues with any post and panels that they had put up or wayfinding systems where the Highways Agency had kind of become a bit heavy-handed with them, because normally it's kind of the pedestrian wayfinding follows best practice, and that does vary from council to council. But it does seem when the Highways Agency gets involved, they're almost that they have rights over everybody else, and there's almost no right to complain. So I don't know if anyone else has come across that.
Well, that's possibly a good thing. I think
William Smith had said they had a client. I did ask a couple of questions. I went to the basically the Sign Design Society and the Association for Road Traffic Society, Safety and Management, and they were quite helpful. But they did say that highways really, if they tell you can't have it, really, the right to appeal is quite limited, and it can drag on, and they override the councils as well. So it's just one of those things, with this particular project has been going on for quite a number of months. All been given the green license right the 11th hour that everything was on hold. So it's just, again, people to be aware that some legislation might, come into play when you are putting posts and panels when it's not on private ground or, abates, a roadway system.
I was just going to say, Craig, if you can hear me, I'm not sure my microphone's working. Yeah, we've had that before, and it is what the highways say goes, basically. But it's always been when customers have been incredibly cheeky and we said, you're not going to be able to get away with that sign there.
Yeah.
And they force us to do it. So say, okay. And then, within weeks, you have to go back and take it down. So, it is highways, in my experience, are, yes, very powerful and will make you take it down very quickly.
The irony is this is actually the council's wayfinding system and stuff. So,
Hey.
no, that's fine. But as you said, wayfinding itself is one of those topics I think we all get involved with from time to time. And the other thing we occasionally get is actually people making sure that they're scanning for utilities underground as well, because we've had a couple of strikes where people have kind of walked away and potentially might not have done it. So again, there's just actually the safety procedures that people have in place when they are digging holes. The common sense approach that needs to be taken. And again, is there any advice you give your? I know it's our responsibility, Matthew, but I didn't know if that was something you have in your guidelines.
No, we don't. It's probably something that we should look into. But we're definitely not an authority on that. So
no, it's like anything. It's not you're not advocating, not telling people. People will do their own, their own risk assessment, as you said, for the job. But it's just again highlighting the fact that there's some safety measures should be taken as they go through the process. As again, best practice, I suppose, is the term that I'm using.
Stuff like wind loading and stuff we can advise on and provide reports for. But it's down to the customer's discretion normally, and making sure they check the best practices before they install them.
Okay.
I guess with a system like Copa, at least if it does need to come down, it's an easier de-install because it's take it all apart and maybe move it somewhere else more easily than some other signage. That would be my take. May or may not be true.
How would you recommend installing it, guys, just out of curiosity, if that was the case? Is it a case of running a hacksaw down the side bolt, or is it popping the ATM panel off?
If you were taking down the whole system, I'd probably recommend that, depending on how big the sign is, probably taking it all out of the ground and then undoing the grub screws, and then you can take apart the posts, and then you'll just be left with the arms and the panels already fitted in. So you could probably just reinstall that somewhere else.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Thanks.
And just another quick one. I know you said you max out the size 8 foot before. So I'm guessing you have a formula for how many horizontal braces you put in, do you? Depending on portrait, landscape, whatever.
Yeah, and online that will be calculated, and that's all factored into the calculation. And when it goes through, it's all production ready. So it'll even restrict on. Sometimes it will restrict on what size post you can use and can't use. If it's over a certain size, you can't use 50mm post for an 8x4 panel.
Right. Okay. And one other thing, sometimes I've noticed some of the photos you've got, it's not. I don't think any of them they're flush with the front of the post, but some of them they're rebated more. Is that just where the people go for a bigger post? Is that as simple as it is? But...
Yeah, that's it. And some people do specify whether they want it. Some people do specify they want it sat further forward, that kind of thing. So it's all things we can adapt to.
Yeah. And do you find that people will always match the horizontal bars colour finish to the post finish.
Yeah, majority of the time. However, there's some, like one of the photo examples, I think they went for like the wood effect, but then they had the horizontal bars powder coated to a green, and then their panels was also green, so it kind of created that different effect. But then some people just wrap the horizontal bars in vinyl. Depends on what you're going for.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We're coming towards the end, but there was a question I definitely thought it was worth asking, certainly while you guys are here. That's around warranty for these products, and particularly from your point of view, from the supplier's warranty, because of course you can be supplying something that won't be installed for a little while. So, I mean, Craig, do you want to frame that question?
Yeah, it's one that comes up from time to time. It's kind of, when does the supplier's warranty, you're supplying a product, end and it transfer over to the sign maker or the sign supplier? Because actually, you said that has a 10-year life expectancy, the aluminium. If we're installing something and the aluminium has a failure, then does it come back to the sign company? Does it come back to you? Is it case by case? I suppose it's just trying to looking at it logically. Our terms and conditions used to be would warrant a product for, in effect, 2 cycles. So in effect 2 calendar years, so it goes through unless a customer specified differently. And I know, when you take an order from a client, it can be like road signs is a minimum of 10 years, is my understanding, unless you specify differently.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what warranties people give to their customer. The 10-year was actually on the wood effect. That's sublimated, and it gives a minimum 10 years before it will fade. It's the same process they use for cladding on the outside of a building.
Yeah.
Where I guess that is probably more commonly asked. With general warranties, I guess it's down to the beginning of the process where they're looking at wind loading calculators, making sure they're using the right size posts, wall thickness, and things like that.
But yeah, but this is kind of where I always think it gets a little bit grey, and I think we're all equally guilty because we want to give the client the longest life expectancy of a sign. So I tell the client it has a 10-year warranty on the print, or actually the wood grain effect. After 8 years, there's a noticeable fade, and so am I now responsible for actually returning that panel to you? So I've now got the expense of digging it up, sending it back to be repowder coated. To see, all of a sudden it becomes very messy. Which element of that job is warranted? Because actually I have to give the whole thing back to get it fixed. And I suppose that's where we occasionally get the sticky comment, and you try and have the common sense approach with the client. You've had 8 years life out of the sign, even though we said that the product would last for 10 years. And it's just a conversation that I get regularly with people. I try to explain to them that, you wouldn't get the whole value back. You've had 8 years of a 10-year life, so there's only a percentage of it left over. So, I don't know whether I might be the only one who gets asked the question as a trade association, and everybody else is saying, no, don't raise that one as a thorny subject.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually, and it'd be interesting to see what everyone else on this call, if they actually get asked for warranties on signs like this or not. But it'd be interesting to see what others have to provide their clients with.
Feel free to unmute and respond if
we've installed a few, and funny enough, we've just done one a couple of weeks ago. No, nobody's ever asked about warranty on it.
I think we would probably look at it from a case by case basis, just because we have on some other products as well. They've come to us about it, and then we take a deeper look into it, and we actually find that actually somebody's reversed their car into it, or it wasn't the wind blowing it over, that kind of thing. So obviously we do have to look at it in further.
Yeah, from an aluminium and metal perspective, if the specification is correct for the environment and the height of the sign, in effect, it's not going to. I guess it's like a structural engineer in a building. They don't give it a warranty, but it's designed to withstand its surroundings and the design of it. So
I guess probably where I'm coming from is actually there's a lot more associated costs with the product than just the components that you sell. And as a sign maker, we're selling the end product. We've dressed it, we've fixed it, we put it up. We've had the expense of hiring equipment to either dig or at height to actually put something up. And probably our customers actually saying, well, that's not my problem. I just want to put it right. So I was just trying to get a flavour of how other people took this. It's just a question that I deal on a case by case basis and try to have common sense, but that doesn't always come to the fore, unfortunately.
So is Richard, I know you deal with some big companies out there. Do you have to provide warranties with your work, or?
Yeah, we do, but unfortunately it's not my area of expertise from PS. But yeah, no, we definitely do. And normally we go to the BS standard and then report anything less than 10 years. But again, it would be mostly about colours and colour fading and so on. It would be less than the 10 years, but the structure would be 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good stuff. Look, Ed, I was going to say, is there any more questions to finish on before we call it a day? So I'm sort of moving spotlights around and talking at the same time, multitasking. So is there any more questions before we finish? I think we've kind of covered this in good depth. So look, really appreciate your time, both of you, to join us for this. I hope this was a good use of time for everyone else. I think we had a good chance to ask some questions and see quite an exciting product, whether you've seen it before or haven't. I think somebody there, I think it's Damon, definitely has good experience with the product, and it's great to have someone who has that. So that's great. Next month, we're going to have Innova. I think Craig alluded to earlier. They're going to be talking about tapes and adhesives. So that's another good sort of product to get our teeth into. And hopefully, Sign Trade guys will be here as well, because I'm sure we'll have some comments to make about that. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to say thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for the
everyone.
questions.